All right, ladies and gentlemen. So just to start this particular conversation, I want to simultaneously talk about the crossroads that we are at. Artificial intelligence today is being used as a weapon by ransomware groups. But at the same time, cyber crime teams are using AI for the same defenses. So it's going to be a very interesting argument. But before I do that, I'd want to introduce our team. Can you introduce yourselves just in less than 1 minute? Tell us what you do and what you think about the topic very briefly. I'll start with April, right on my left.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I am April Mora Oichoe. Some people know me as April Mora, others April Oichoe. It is the same person. I'm a cybersecurity professional. I've been doing this for around 15 years now. I am also, I wear many hats. So I'm working for an NGO currently. I'm also running my own organization, and I'm also a consultant. And I have just finished my PhD, cybersecurity culture. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Brensel Kaimba. I'm also in the cybersecurity space for about 10 years. I started off in the Security Operations Center. I moved to the risk side. I'm very passionate about training. And my thoughts around AI is I'm very happy it's happening when I'm still alive, when I'm still in the youth bracket, because I have big ambitions of getting rich through AI. So I'm looking forward to our discussion.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Turning it on helps. Hello?
Justin?
Anybody listening? Can you hear me out there? Okay,
Yes,
'cause
hear you.
I speak very quiet. My name's Steve Jump. You may have heard me earlier. I am a cyber risk analyst. I have a slightly cynical view on the technology perspective of cybersecurity. If you'd ask me to describe myself, I would. This was a challenge I was given at my last conference. 2 words. I am a paranoid techno-optimist. The hyphen makes it 2 words. The reality is, I explain cyber risk to technical people and to non-technical people and try and stop them from fighting.
Morning. Morning, John. Good morning. I think you can use, yes.
Good morning.
Brilliant.
Yeah. You have to use this one going forward. Yeah, so good morning, everyone. My name is John Mutama. I work for CrowdStrike. And I'm excited about the topic of AI versus AI because we've been leveraging AI for the last 10 years, trying to stop the breaches, which is our mantra. Yeah, so I've been in the technology space for the last 15 years. Most of you have seen me in conferences such as this, trying to evangelize, trying to make sure we all keep up with what the adversaries are doing, right? So excited to be here and looking forward to the discussion.
Thank you, John.
Hello. Again, my name is Siyum Damto, and I'm Director for Information System Security for the past 5 years. Before that, I was working in Ethio Telecom in different levels. From the last assignment while I was in Ethio Telecom was SOC manager. And I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you, Siom, and thank you, esteemed panelists. And this is quite an interesting discussion. As an AI author and also an authority in artificial intelligence, I get severally alerts about anything to do with artificial intelligence. So there's this particular alert that I got, and this is to the panels because then it guides this particular conversation. An alert that I got from ISAC researchers. They research about cybersecurity threats, and they also research about trends. So this is what they found out. There's a group, ransomware group, called FunkSec. Maybe you can take time and Google about it. They individually attacked by December 85 individual people and asked for ransom, about $5,000 and below. And what did they use to do this? First, they used artificial intelligence to be not detected, to be undetected generally. But also, secondly, they used AI for sophisticated attacks. So this brings us to the year 2025. And I want to ask this across the board. What would you say to the emerging attacks through AI as a weapon? Especially that ransomware groups like FunkSec are currently attacking the world. And the groups are becoming very popular like this. And they're not only popular, they're being glorified on the internet as a result of what we call smartness. So should organizations be worried as we head into 2025 in this knowledge, as the cyber experts? What would you say about this? And possibly allow me to start with April.
Well, okay, so I would say that any organization that actually did not expect this is really sleeping and they need to wake up because it is expected. As technology has continued to evolve, we are not in the 1970s. Well, I didn't exist then, but I've read about what happened then. In the 1970s, things were very different. Maybe Steve can tell us. You would. So in the 1970s, we didn't have, now I can wake up in the morning. Some of us live in apartments. You'll go to your apartment, you'll get into the lift, you'll get some nice music. If you're married and your wife was driving the car last night, it has adjusted to fit her form. And you go in and you sit and it adjusts to automatically fit your form. Technology, right? So we expect that as technology advances, even the harms and the risks around technology would advance. For one thing, we have so much data, we have no idea what to do with the data that we have. So any organization that has been sitting and thinking that AI would not catch up with them, it's time, well, it's still evolving, I'll say that, and I still don't believe we have artificial intelligence. However, I think that if we have been sleeping, it's time to wake up now. There's no more time.
That is something I'm going to address back. You spoke something at the end that there is artificial intelligence. I'll interrogate that further. But maybe, Branson, we can hear from you about what should companies be expecting with smarter ransomware groups becoming smarter.
What I can say is maybe I'll take you back a few years when I started my career. I've been involved in several investigations, and there was one, together with a few colleagues of mine, we boldly went to assist this college, a small college. And when we were doing that, we were helped. It was a ransomware attack, and we're trying to see, can we be able to decrypt? Are there already decryption keys available? They were not. Did they have backup? They didn't have backup. Short story, we were not able to recover that, and there was no way for us to recover. So what was left is, do we pay the ransom? It was about 300K. This small college only has about 50K. So what are we discussing between the attackers, ourselves, and this school? I don't know how that ended. But fast forward a few years later, I was in another investigation. And this was a more mature organization. And they had what we call, it's Microsoft XDR and Sentinel-1. And in that investigation, you could clearly see how the attack was propagated from point A to point B. What am I saying? I think from what I see, looking back, what has changed is not necessarily the attacks, the impact that AI is having on us or even organizations, particularly the really small ones, is impact of outcomes, change of outcomes. Whereas before, it's maybe your data will be encrypted. Most of them will survive without that data. Their data is probably even in paper, or they don't have enough money to pay ransom. But change in outcome in the way that organizations have now adopted tools that are very helpful when it comes to recovery. I saw NetApp. A lot of organizations are using NetApp in their data management systems, and their ransomware specifically targeting NetApp. Before that was a big problem, but last year, November, NetApp came up with it's called autonomous ransomware protection, meaning you don't have to do anything. It will automatically start the process of stopping the ransomware attack. So I think the change in outcome when it comes to AI is what I am seeing as from a defensive side. This has really changed. Of course, the attackers will keep evolving, but the tools that I'm seeing in the network and the tools that organizations are coming up with, and even what the former, what he was talking about, those tools are really doing something that has not been possible, even with the less attacks that we were seeing before.
That is interesting, and actually triggers me now to flip the coin a little bit. And sorry, Steve, this has to go to you because then we flip the conversation based on what the two ladies have just said. Do we have smarter cybersecurity technicians who are already aware on how to use smarter AI technology to counter the evolving attacks?
A nice, simple question. Yes and no.
Okay.
I'll explain. We live in a world where anything that can be represented digitally, anything can be synthesized at a level beyond human discrimination. In other words, what you see, what you hear is fake or fakeable, right? We don't trust it. When we start talking now about ransomware, common attack is to literally persuade the victim to give the keys to the attacker. Almost every successful ransomware attack involves a compromising credentials. So the tools to detect synthesized information are there, and they are available, and some cyber ops teams are using them, but not all. So these are part of the AI. And by the way, I'm of the ilk that AI is the buzzword of the day of really fast, smart software. Processing power beyond our wildest dreams, capability. I'll argue the ethics of whether an AI is intelligent. I would say right now, no. What we are dealing with is tools that can look at every possible permutation in near real time, way faster than we can ever expect that to be managed by a human support desk agent. And we need to give them tools to at least keep up. So it's a yes and a no.
Thank you, Steve. And I'll come to both you and and April in regards to artificial intelligence. You've attacked artificial intelligence twice. I'll come back to that, but John, please save the situation. Let's look at organizations today, just as the flip of the coin, talking about that. Do we need to become smarter and faster in identifying AI ransomware attacks for the sake of companies? In the year 2025, we're no longer talking about AI is going to be here. We are talking about AI is here and it's being used as defense and offensive. So what's your comment on that? Do we need smarter systems or do we need smarter people?
Yeah, so I think the answer is yes to both. So you ask, do you need smarter systems? Do you need smarter people? Yes, to both, because the systems are not a silver bullets, right? So the systems do not fix everything. So for example, you don't just deploy a control and leave it to function on its own and expect it to do miracles, for example. So even if it's an AI-driven system, even if it's an AI-driven system and it's picking all this intelligence and so on and so forth, and it's working magic for you as far as detection and response is concerned, there's always a people element that gets involved in as far as now maybe taking action or even just looking at the nature of the attacks we see today, right? There's going to be attacks that are going to involve things like social engineering, right? So if your people are not smarter to be able to just even understand and avoid those kind of attacks, then you're leaving the organization exposed. If I do a vishing type call, perfect example, and I call the organization and I tell them, hey, I know I'm an admin from IT, and I want you to give me your password so I can change it. The people have to understand and know that that is a potential attack. So the education of those people is important, and also the acquisition of the right systems. So smarter people, smarter systems, that's what works.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And thank you for bringing that up, because it's important when we look at the financial industry. Now, the financial industry is the most vulnerable. That's where, as a matter of fact, for lack of a better argument, it is the reason that ransomware groups are formed. Right. So, as a person, as an expert who is currently protecting a commercial bank, one of the largest commercial banks in Africa, I'd really be, and I'm sure the audience will be, how are you balancing the need of AI attack systems with the need of AI automation systems that are always on top of your operations at every second? Because I know with money, every second counts. Anything that gets a leeway in the first second is going to take over the whole day. So to you, how do you manage and identify such aggressive attacks before they happen, especially in the use of AI or lack of it?
Thank you, and you raised very nice, important question. You see, with AI world, no more seeing is believing, or hearing is believing. So that if an emails are sent to our employees, which is artificially engineering or artificial intelligence enabled way, then employees will automatically click, then ransomware will be deployed in their machine. And they can be easily targeted because they are working in financial sector. So our approach is working with three pillars. One is working in people enhancements, people understanding, awareness. The second one is on process, governance, and regulations. And the third one is technology. When working on the three equally, we will think that we can achieve the cybersecurity in all aspects in AI attacks. So from a technology perspective, we have to work on AI-powered SIM solutions, which can correlate not only on rule-based, but also on behavior-based. Behavior of users, behavior of networks should be analyzed. And to do that, we have to have a log from critical systems, a log from privilege access management, identity access management, so that we can put a baseline for our employees as well as for our network, so that whenever there is a deviation in the network behavior and user behavior, then we'll automatically detect, and the response is very critical. So automated response, like SOAR solutions, are very critical. EDR, XDR solutions are very important. I didn't mean that we are matured in zero trust, but we have started it and we achieved it at advanced level. And the other area which we are working was in finance frauds, digital frauds. Recently, what we have faced to our customers is there is a fraud ransomware, and it's for ransomware which is called Pharma. It's SDK which can be distributed to social media through impersonations, impersonating our bankers. Then it sends to our customers. If the customers install that application in their mobile, that application will take over the accessibility, so that on behalf of the customer, it can dial, or it can call, or it can even keylog, so that customers will be manipulated very easily.
Nice. No, thank you, Sion, for that. And what I've had most from you are laws and regulations and so on and so forth. Now, as we clear up the discussion, because I know there are so many questions, but allow me just to moderate and manage on time. John, and I want to pick up conversation from Sion, is beyond technology. because I've had a lot of, we want to do things about skills. Beyond technology, what human skills can you advise the audience today are more valuable as both ransomware and defense becoming more AI driven? What kind of skills should be able to be acquired in this particular century to be on top of these attacks?
Okay, so like I'd hinted to you about the fact that we don't have a malware problem, we have an adversary problem.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well said.
that's our mantra, because we need to look at it from the perspective of there's an individual behind every attack. It's not just random tech. I wish sometimes it would be like in the Terminator movie, a rogue AI decides that it's going to take over the world, right? But in our situation, there's always an individual sitting behind this malware or this attack, this theft of credentials, and so on and so forth. So we need to have the skills to understand when we see an attack.
Yep.
We need to have the skills to recognize and say, oh, there's, maybe exfiltration of this kind of data happening, or maybe some code execution and so on and so forth happening on a particular, and this is aside from the tools, right? So you need to have the tools to detect, and also the skill set of the individuals to understand what is happening and then how to remediate, right? So if you look at the kind of setup you see in modern SOCs, you have the threat hunters, you have the analysts, you have all these personnel that are actually involved in understanding what is happening specific to the breach, right? So to answer your question, those are the kind of skills. You need to have threat hunters, you need to have analysts, you need to have people that are consistently monitoring the environment and are able to understand what is happening, right? So those are the kind of skills we need to impart.
Absolutely.
And I would encourage most organizations to be able to do that.
Thank you for that, John. And those are the skills, absolutely. But I'll ask you, Steve, just to also pick up from there as we wind up, in basically under 2 minutes, under 1 minute, if that is possible. Is it a matter of skills or is it a matter of organization policies?
Yes. Because without the organizational policies, we're not going to develop the skills. And some of those skills are communicating to business that it's not a technology problem. There will be technology involved. When we start talking about AI, it's a buzzword on I have unlimited computing power. Okay? How we use AI is up to the user. If you are a criminal, it will be for evil. If you are a business, it will be for survival. But there's the same tools. It is your intent as a user. So if you wish to defend, you have to understand how the attack's going to happen. And most of what we are talking about now, ransomware and the way it happens, we have AI on the table, but AI is not the problem. It's we are not doing the basics within our organizations that would even give us a fighting chance against non-AI-based ransomware. So the AI-based ransomware is going to recognize you for not having basic measures 1,000 times faster than before. But you are still vulnerable because your processes and your skills haven't matched the risk you are protecting against. Yes, AI is changing things, but what it is doing is accelerating everything 1,000 times faster than we are used to. But it is still the same attack. It is just no longer a human manageable attack.
Absolutely. Well said. Which now, Brensil, as you wind up on this, what should be the next decision for an organization, given the random intelligence of ransomware groups becoming? What would be the next step they should take when they leave here to protect their organization, especially not from only cybercrime, but AI accelerated cyber threats?
I think for any organization, we have been facing threats even before AI became the buzzword. And even then, what we were emphasizing is you have to understand you can't protect what you don't know, and you don't know what you don't know. There's a report from Microsoft. It's called the Digital Defense Report. And they say 90% of attacks that have been reported in the recent times have been due to unmanaged devices. And these unmanaged devices, these are things we knew 10 years ago, 5 years ago. So I think the basics are the same, both for the attackers and for us who are defending. So number one, understand your risk profile. This can go all the way to risk quantification, quantify your risk. And another statistic that is also important is there's a company called Collision, and they deal with insurance. And what they say is that 18% of the claims that they paid out were because of remote access. And this was the starting point for ransomware was remote access. So it's the basic things that we know. It's just that they have now been highlighted a lot more because of ransomware. So understand your assets, understand where the assets are, the ones that are managed, the ones that are not. And from there, you just build on the usual controls that we have.
Thank you. Thank you, Bensi, for that. And then this finally wraps up with April, who does not believe artificial intelligence is smart enough, but intelligence systems are becoming smarter. As we look ahead in the next 2 to 3 years, what one specific development in AI versus ransomware battle that organizations should be preparing for now, not tomorrow?
Okay. I think Steve wrapped it up really. Nothing's really going to change. It's going to be the same thing. It's just scaling up speed, scaling up volumes, being able to do more things faster than we have been doing them in the past. So I'm going to speak to the CISOs specifically. It's a CISO summit, right?
Absolutely.
So CISOs, the one thing that you need to start wrapping your minds around is that your security posture reflects your security culture in your organization, which is a subset of your organizational culture. So as Brensil has said, you will only understand your risks if you have a very clear understanding of what your organizational culture looks like. If you don't understand your organizational culture, and by organizational culture, I'm talking about the external factors that force you to change your behaviors and to change your practices and to change your policies. Because if you cannot do that, then you cannot be in a position to fight against technology that is evolving faster than you will imagine. Because right now we are edging closer and closer to quantum computing. That's a discussion for another day. I shall not get into that one, more controversial. But yes, we are edging closer and closer to that. Now, you have a combination of quantum computing, which means that cryptography is almost becoming obsolete, which means that you have AI on this other side, which has sped up things, magnified everything. I'll just ask you a question. I'll leave you with food for thought. What do you think you need to have in place to cope? And I'll tell you the one thing that everyone needs to gear up, from top management to operations.
Okay.
Everyone needs to get a cyber analytics skill set.
Yeah.
Minimum. For the board, you need to understand cyber analytics from a board perspective. Operations, you need to understand cyber analytics from an ops perspective.
Absolutely.
Basically, the whole organization needs to be talking about cyber analytics to an extent.
Oh, wow. These are the shortest 30 minutes of my life. I wish we had more time, but ladies and gentlemen, if you did not get anything out of this conversation, just remember what came across from the panelists. Transformation of ransomware evolving has to be transformed by your people, your organizations, your systems, and your policies. Think about what you need to do in this set of AI, especially in 2025. It has been a pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, for that hot conversation. And I hope that our audiences have something to go home with to take steps, especially in the era of AI. Thank you very much. Thank you.